This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wellthy CEO podcast.
Today's conversation is for the ambitious mother who refuses to believe success has to cost her peace. I'm joined by Laura Sinclair, the founder of This Mother Means Business, who helps women build profitable, sustainable businesses without burning themselves to the ground. We're talking about redefining ambition after motherhood, what the root cause of burnout actually is, and how to build a business that supports your life instead of consuming it. Let's get into it. Today, I am so excited to welcome in studio Laura to the Wellthy CEO podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you were here. And I was driving over here and I had like 25 minutes in between. And I was like, I can sneak in to go get some self-love treatment. My mom has my daughter. And I was having this conversation with the girl that, I had this a treatment done really quick. And she was like, what's the podcast about? Because I was telling her I was coming to meet you and I'm really excited to meet you because you're like an entrepreneur, you're a mom, you're in business, you're helping other women. And she was like, I need this podcast. Like, I know nothing about finances. I know nothing about business. And my boyfriend is always saying you need to invest. She's like, if it has to do with math and numbers, like, don't talk to me. I was like, but what if that math made you money?
Yeah.
And you didn't have to actually do the job you're doing right now, which if we want to get real and raw, I was getting a bikini wax.
Hi, girl.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Good.
And so I share that because I was thinking like you could maybe not be doing that.
Yeah.
And seeing so many different women throughout your day if you paid attention to numbers and you started to learn it. So it wasn't a mistake that you're coming on the show today to talk about all the things around business and scaling and starting.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, before we dive into it, what came first, the business entrepreneur or the mom?
I was an entrepreneur first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So I have a corporate marketing and PR background is where I started my career. And I always hopped around.
Okay.
I was never really anywhere for more than 2 or 3 years because I was bored, but I didn't know this about myself, that I was just not wired to be an employee. I was just made to be an entrepreneur, but I very much grew up in a household where I was told you go to school, you get a degree, you go work for somebody else, and like that's life. Yeah. That's just how it goes. And so I was a little older than I would have liked to discover entrepreneurship, but started my career there. And then I ended up leaving my corporate job to help a friend build a nutrition coaching company.
Okay.
This was somebody that I had just met through a CrossFit gym that I was attending at the time. She had accidentally started a business in 2015 that was a macro tracking business. So in 2015, this was like, it's everywhere now. Yeah. But in 2015, it was very cutting edge. It was really only in sort of the bodybuilding space. Certainly wasn't in the CrossFit space. Built that business. Unfortunately, business relationships, we can talk about this more if you like, but business relationships go sour when you go into business with a friend and you're in your 20s and you don't have contracts and you do things that are not so smart that I would absolutely never
Pinky promises,
best friend hugs, handshakes, those sorts of things. Those don't hold. Those don't hold any weight. And so walked away from that business and ended up buying a brick and mortar CrossFit gym.
Okay.
Ran a brick and mortar CrossFit gym for 5 years. And it was during that time that I owned the gym that I had my first child.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many years in?
I was 1 year in. So again, let's talk about other things that I would not suggest.
Yes.
Okay. I got married.
Yep.
You
suggest that though.
I suggest that.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to, you don't have to. It's not for everybody. Got married a month later. Took over the gym.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying the gym, knowing I was buying it before my wedding. And they were like, do you want the keys today? And I was like, no, I got to get married. Yeah. We're going on this honeymoon and then I'll come back and then we can do this. Bought the gym. A month later, I think I got pregnant. I had my daughter a year later. So I got pregnant, 3 months into owning the gym?
Okay.
Can't say I recommend it.
No.
Yeah. Owning a brick and mortar business while going through a postpartum window.
Yeah.
Not
Hard.
really hard.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of women that have done it, but I did not have anyone's that everyone was just like, it's congratulations. Your baby's so cute. Sleep when the baby sleeps.
Right.
Nobody was like, girl, you run a brick and mortar business that requires people to be there at certain times.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan?
Yeah.
Do you have a mat leave? Are you covered? Like my maternity leave was quite literally the 15 minutes between when I gave birth to my daughter and moved to whatever the recovery room postnatal ward is.
Yeah.
And then pulled out my laptop and started responding to new client inquiries.
Crazy.
I still remember the name of the person that I was emailing.
Right.
Like, hey, actually, I just had a baby. Like, literally just had a baby within the last 45 minutes.
My goodness.
But sure, we can come and do an intro with you.
Right.
I'll send my husband. And she was like, I can wait. I was like, no, we'll be there. He'll be there tomorrow. Like it was crazy. It was just totally crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah, it was
like,
wild.
And also the hours too. It's not like 9 to 5. Like, gyms are typically like crack it on.
We had a 5:45 a.m. class.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were open most days until about 8:30 p.m.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that was that a hard season for you?
It was the hardest season of my life.
Okay.
For sure. I was under-resourced in every level. I didn't really have family help.
Yeah.
Family, I thought you have a baby and you get the village, right?
Right.
You had the baby. So the village just appears. At least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
Yeah.
So had to hire support, had to really lean on my team in a way that I wasn't prepared to, had to give up things that I wasn't really prepared to give up because so much of my identity was I'm a gym owner. I run this business.
Right.
And it was like, well, what do you mean I can't be there? I have to stay at home with this little being who is adorable, but is on my boob literally all day long. And so there was just so many layers. My identity showing up with that. What does it mean for me now as a woman, which we all go through, I think.
Yep.
When we have babies, I don't know a single mom that can't relate to that. And then I'm a business owner on top of it, but I can't be in my business, nor have I prepared myself to take a break from my business. So for lack of a better word, it was a complete shit show.
And so you said you had the gym for how many years? 4 years?
I had it for 5.
For 5 years. And what caused the shift for you to want to look elsewhere or
the pandemic.
Tell me.
It was COVID. So 2020, we had got this gym up. The gym was running beautifully pre-2020. And I have this memory of I had coaches that were supposed to be going on this trip to Spain. They had a trip to Spain scheduled in February of 2020. And we know that this all started in Europe, right?
Right.
And so we're watching it. They're like, oh, we're going to this trip to Spain. And I was like, no, you're not.
Right.
Like, I know that you think that you're going to be gone, but you're going to be here because your trip's going to get canceled. Not thinking that, no, everything.
Your gym was going to get shut down.
My gym is literally going to be canceled. I'm just thinking, I have these 2 coaches that think they're going on this trip. Like, isn't that cute of them?
Yeah.
When in reality, everything's going to be shut down. So it had got to a place where it was really running itself. I had learned from a lot of my mistakes that I made in that first year, had to go through a lot of healing, both internally with myself, in my relationships, how I wanted to show up in this world, and basically rebuilding my business in a way that was supportive of the reality that I was a mom. And so I made the decision end of 2019, actually, I'm ready to have another child.
Okay.
And so March 15th, 2020, I was 8 weeks pregnant with my second child. And the gym was just my husband and I running this business. We didn't have any funding outside of what we were doing.
Sure.
And we went from about 250 members to about 112 members very quickly. And then my son was born. And I had sort of had the opportunity to say, do I want to do this again? Do I want to put myself through what I put myself in 2016, 2017? And the answer was no.
Right.
And so I got to make a decision that I had already kind of been thinking about. I had already found myself in a place where I was like, I've done this here, this business is really running itself. I don't have to be here. I was kind of curious about what else was out there. But then the pandemic showed up and was just like, well, here you go.
Yeah.
And so end of 2020, we made the decision to close the gym, sold off all the gym equipment. Nobody was buying gym businesses at that time.
Yeah.
And so I think I ended up with like $40,000 in gym equipment sales and was like, well, we got a runway. Let's figure it out.
Yeah. So then you made this big pivot.
So then I made a big pivot. Yeah. I started. So what I went back to was actually initially social media and helping in social media, because that was my last corporate gig. So when I started in corporate, started in PR, it was 2008 when brands were just discovering it was like Twitter and Facebook. There was no Instagram at this point.
Okay.
And they were letting the interns run the Twitter account because social media didn't really mean anything. So I was running the Microsoft Canada Twitter account as an intern at a PR school.
Amazing.
Which you think about that now, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That they let an intern do that.
Yeah, 100%.
But now they would never. There's probably internal teams of like 24 people, but I was just the girl at the PR agency at the time. Sure. And so when we closed the gym, I made the decision to kind of merge my two worlds. And pre-pandemic, I had actually signed up for a course on how to make a course, which there's lots of that. But I was running a lot of postnatal programming in my gym, and I was like, oh, there's probably an opportunity here for me to do some postnatal fitness or at least educate and just help women get back into fitness and back into sport after having babies. And so I joined this course. I think I paid like $5,000 to be part of this course. And I got in there, and the course was great. But I got in there were 50 women in this course. And I remember sitting and being like, I'm not the best at math, but I can do 50 times 5,000 pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I had never seen anybody do that. And so this was before we had even closed the gym. But I remember sitting there being like, this woman is making this much money for a 12-week course. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so that was my first moment of learning about the online space and what that even meant. Mm-hmm. And so when we closed the gym, it was sort of an opportunity for me to say, okay, I saw what this girl did. And I'm a big believer in proof of possibility, right? I look at somebody and I think, oh, wow, she can do that.
Totally.
I can do that, or I can do some version of that. Like, thank you for this invitation. Thank you for this gift that you've given me, that you can show me what's possible. And so I started helping with social media and started creating courses and doing some education for business owners. Because one thing that I did know from a lot of my clients at the gym or entrepreneurs was that there were a lot of people that were getting into business that were great at the things that they were great at, but terrible at filling the funnel. They had no idea how to use these tools to actually fill the funnel to get clients for their business. And so I started just doing that. I was like, well, this is the easiest thing for me to do with my now 3-month-old baby at home. I have my little runway. I got to figure something out. Yep. And so I started with that. And then it kind of became, I was having more conversations beyond just social media. We were talking about the social media piece, yes, but a lot of my work became about how do we navigate this intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship? How do I continue to show up and do these things that I know I have to do to grow my business, but feel really sticky for me for XYZ reasons? Or I don't have the ability to create 3 posts a day, which, the internet gurus love to tell you to do. So how do I continue to show up for my business? And so from there, it kind of pivoted. And in 2023, I launched my podcast, called it This Mother Means Business. Mm-hmm. Thought it would always just be the name of my podcast. Never really thought it was going to be anything more than that. But, happy accidents in entrepreneurship as they show up. And from there, This Mother Means Business has become a platform really for for women entrepreneurs in Canada that are navigating this intersection. A lot of early stage business owners come in and get support through our mentorship programs. They listen to the show, they come to events, and we're doing a lot of really cool work there. So that's the condensed version.
I love it. So, one of the things that I think is really amazing about what you do is like you are working with a lot of women that are in those early stages. Yeah. Possibly scaling, yes. I know that's what you do as well. Yeah. But usually you see so much stuff like on Instagram for coaches where you're already making at least 6 figures and you're wanting to scale into like that multi 6 figures or 7-figure range. Yeah. And I think there's so much today around, and you brought this up earlier, like when women, even if you haven't been in business and you're a nurse or you're an esthetician, whatever practice you're doing, whatever your vocation is, and then yes, you have a little one and things shift, whether you like it or not, whether you're prepared for it or not. Even if you do prepare, like you can only prepare so much, and then it's like it's still a whole other reality check that like ends up happening around like this identity piece. And I think so many women, so many moms, I think they get really caught up on, do I go back to what I was doing? Yeah. And if I am going to go back to doing what I was doing, how is that going to change, and what does that now look like? Because it can't be the same. I should say it can't be. Some women, they can, and they make that decision. Like, and there's no judgment. Like I have a couple girlfriends where they're like, they bring in a nanny and they, daycare right away. They have somebody who's like feeding the baby, and they were just kind of like the vessel.
Yeah, you have to be extraordinarily well-resourced in order for that to be an option.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not usually like most people's or most women's like scenarios.
Yeah.
But that's one avenue. I think majority of moms, you're trying to do this dance of like going back to what you knew, knowing that it's now going to be different. And then the in-between of, I actually don't even want to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. But what is like the future? What would that new thing be like?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like even myself, like, I had a very blessed year this past year. I was like on mat leave in my first year of motherhood. And, I was sharing with you before the show, you actually saw my Instagram post that I did today. But, I was number 2 top producer in my team, which was like wild, Yeah. And there's something to be said about when you're in a state of surrender, like that's a whole other, like in surrender and trusting the process and in alignment, things just flow and happen for you.
Yeah.
But even in that year, I have thought about going, okay, like I never, like you, like I've been in business like pretty much my whole life since I was in my 20s. And I never thought I'd be like, I could actually be a stay-at-home mom. I would never have said yes to that. Yeah. I've always been like, there's no way. Like I'm in business. I want to build. I want to create. And this time has been so precious and so sacred that I'm like, I would be cool not going into work for 5 years. Yeah. So I could just be at home with her, So I share that because I feel like some women, they do this dance going back and forth. Yeah. And one of the things I think you do, and I want to just talk a little bit about this today, is like, how do you encourage a woman to kind of get clear on what the next alignment really looks like? Because it can't go back to being the same.
No.
And that's really hard for some women to accept, but then establishing what is my new alignment? Like, what is that?
Okay, so 2 things. First, I want to just acknowledge your incredible year that you've had because it's huge.
Thank you.
But also such a testament to the foundations that you've built in your business and the work that you do, right? You're not starting net new. You have an incredible network of people. You've done the things that are required to lay the foundation. So this is just years of hard work, not just, but it's years of hard work showing up for you, which is incredible, which is really what we want as business owners, regardless of what kind of business you're in, right? Is whether you're a realtor or you're a business mentor or you're building something completely different, we're all in the relationships business. And if we 100%. Put in the work and we have the foundations to do that. So I want to name that. And also say congratulations, because that's incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
I feel like I'm on your show.
Welcome to This Mother Means Business. One of my favorite moments, and I'm going to say this and some people might take this the wrong way, and that's okay. One of my favorite moments is when I meet a woman who is about to have her first child and has this expectation of how it's going to go.
Right.
Because inside, I'm giggling. With love, because there is this sense of like, I'm going to do this and my baby's going to be like this, and I'm going to be able to do this and it's going to be fine. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah. Or I meet a woman and they have this idea that they're going to just stay on the path that they're on. And they're going to do the work that they're currently doing. And you know it, right? Yeah. When you see someone that's like, oh, this is going to change you. Yeah. This is going to change you. And so internally I giggle with love because it's everybody's journey to go on. Right. Every single one of us, when we become a mom, unless to the people that we were talking about before that are really, really incredibly resourced, go through a really seismic shift in your life. Yeah. It's identity. It's how you want to show up, what your priorities are. And this changes for all of us. And I don't think that there's one change that's better than another or one way that's right and one way that's wrong. I'm really a believer that you get to define what it means for you to be a good and present mother and a good and present entrepreneur. And your version and my version might be different, and that's fine. I mean, you saying I would happily be a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, absolutely not. I will never do that. Yeah. Do I love my children? Yes, but I don't want that. And that's okay, and that's beautiful. And so to answer your question about how do I help women figure out what that is for them, I think as women, we've spent most of our lives trying to make other people feel comfortable. And whether that usually starts for most of us when we're little.
Totally.
Right? We want to just be a good girl.
Yep.
And that carries through. That carries through until we become moms. And part of my job as a business mentor is to help return women to themselves. And yes, we're going to grow your business. And yes, we're going to make you more money. But you have to return to what it is that you actually need for you.
Yeah.
And those can be really hard conversations to have, because sometimes it's like, Shae, what would you do for you?
Right.
Well, if I could give you 2 hours today, what would you do? And you're like, girl, I got 25 minutes. I'm going to go keep
So
you
I
rest.
went. Yeah.
But for some women, they'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what I would do for me. I don't actually know how I would want to spend my time if somebody gave me the choice. And so much of my work, especially with the people that I'm working with closely, like one-on-one or in my mastermind, is helping them understand that it doesn't actually matter.
Right.
What other people think they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And understanding that people's opinions of you are a social construct anyway.
Yeah.
So how do we get back to that? And I think that's really where it starts in our business. It's like, what do you want to be doing? How do you want to be spending your time? What are the things that really are only things that you can do in your business? And what are things that we can delegate or get you support or stop doing altogether? So a big part of my work is that. And I think for anybody that's listening that is hearing me being like, you're right, Laura, I have no idea what it is that I want to do. Sometimes you have to get quiet. I just had to do this for myself. There's been some stuff coming up in my own business. I'm like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. I don't like that. Yeah. And so I had to. My kids had gone to bed. My husband was away for work. I was little lit a candle and started like just free writing. I had no plan, but I started writing some things and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's really taking the time, whatever, however that looks for you, to just get in touch with what's true for you, free of expectation, free of other people's voices. So that's a really big part of my work.
I love that. And as you're talking, like what comes up for me is how important it is to have your foundation be strong. Yeah.
Essential.
Because like it anchors you in and it anchors you, like full stop, period. Like when you're talking about women that they're like, I don't know what I would do with an hour. I actually feel sad for that. Yeah. Because it's a lack of also like knowing self and also like what you need emotionally, physically, and mentally. Yeah. And I have practiced this for over a decade, very like regiment in my own routine, that so much so that when I had my daughter, of course the routines are not the same, but it was like finding space to still be able, because my body, like my body, my brain craves it. It's like I need it for my own like sanity. And then you become the best version of yourself, not just for, your kids, but then also for whoever you're serving in your business, Yeah. So I love that you're helping women like come home to themselves, like return to self.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big part of my job. It's a hard thing to sell, Yeah. Be like, hello, I will help you. Yeah. Come home to yourself. People are like, what does that even mean? But usually people are coming to me because their business feels really heavy, or it feels like it's on fire, or they are struggling. They've hit a plateau in their business. They can't scale. And so much of it is like, well, my friend, you are probably the bottleneck. And that starts with understanding what is it that we actually need to be doing. And you and I were chatting about this before we hit record. One of the things I love to say to women is like, know thyself. You were talking about some supports that you need in your business in order to be successful that are different than me. Yeah. And that's okay. Yep. But we do have to know ourselves. And I think, in the business mentorship space, and we were talking about internet people that spew advice, we have to consider the human behind the business. Totally. Because I could tell, we could have two people sitting in front of us right now that run the exact same business, and they have maybe even the same problem in their business. We could give them the identical solution, and it would only work for one of them because they're going to be resourced differently. They're going to show up differently. They have different stories that they're telling themselves, different supports, like the list goes on. And so it is really important to consider the human element of a lot of these women, certainly when they're, shifting from corporate to entrepreneurship, they're solopreneurs. They don't have big teams. They're trying to get this thing off the ground, and a lot of stuff can show up. I mean, entrepreneurship's the greatest personal development journey you'll ever go on, aside of maybe motherhood. Yeah. Mush them together. That's it's a real trip.
Totally. I think it's why this practice is so important. And if you have been in business for a while, you'll recall periods of like the Enron crisis or like the '08 crash when Wall Street lost everything. And, you know, you even brought it up earlier of like, you know, well, I was a gym owner and like this was my identity. It's like we can spend years building something. And I think so many moms, like you were somebody before you became a mom.
Yep.
You know, and that is a title, and it's probably for most moms, they'll say it's their greatest honor, their greatest title of their life. But you were somebody before that happened. You were somebody before you became a gym owner.
Yeah.
That person at Wall Street was somebody before they were on Wall Street. And when things get taken or stripped away or they crumble or they shut down or catastrophe happens, you have to be able to still look yourself in the mirror and go, this is who I am with or without, because it doesn't define me. It is a gift, you know, like you being a mom, me being a mom, like that is a gift. But there's more to Shae, there's more to Laura than just being a mom or being a business owner. And so in these quiet moments, and this is why a lot of people, not just moms, are really uncomfortable with being with self. I always tell people, you really want to get to know yourself, go travel for 1 week solo.
I did 6 weeks in Australia in my 20s. It was the best thing I could have done.
It is the best thing. I've gone on multiple solo trips, not 6 weeks in length, but
it was before I had kids. It was fine.
You know, but it is really good. Like I remember, and I'm sure you can relate in different ways. Whereas when I first went on my first solo trip, I would sit at a bar with my laptop because that was my comfort of being like, whatever, I'm working. And I would genuinely be doing work. I'd be working on something. But that was part of like my own like self-esteem where I'm not this loser sitting at a bar or at a dinner or like at a table solo.
Yeah.
The more I've done it, it's like, I really actually don't care what anybody else thinks about me sitting at a table by myself and having a date with myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think of actually, I don't know if you're a Friends person, but it's one of my favorite Friends episodes where Rachel goes out on a date by herself, you know, and Monica, she cancels plans, or she tells Monica she can't go out with her. And she finds out later she had plans with herself. And she was like, well, you were the one that told me how important it is and not to cancel on me, you know, and it's this whole thing. But it's like, it is so important to do that. And you see these insecurities that come up and you're like, huh, that's weird. I didn't know that I had insecurities with that, or my ego, right? Like it is an insecurity, but it's an ego thing of being like, I have to look like I'm working so that I look cool. Yeah. And now it's like, I could just go sit at the bar with no phone and just be. Yeah. Which I'll never be able to do again, probably till my daughter's 18.
You'll have moments. You'll find it.
Yeah, I find them.
You'll find it. You're in it. My kids are 8 and 5, and so there's a little more space now for me to do those sorts of things. Yeah. But I love that you named this, because this is something that I personally have had to work on a lot. I'll tell you a story. So when I first left, my last corporate job was working for a luxury automotive company and doing all of their digital marketing. Okay. And so when I first bought my gym, people would say, oh, what do you do? And I'd say, well, I own a gym, but I used to do all the digital marketing for this luxury automotive company. And then when I closed my gym, when the gym was closed, I started my online business. People, well, what do you do? Yeah. Oh, well, I'm an online business mentor, but I used to own a gym. Right. And so much of my identity was tied to my work. Right. I couldn't just say, I'm Laura. Right. It wasn't that. And I've had to do so much work on pulling those pieces apart and all of the labels and learning to just be okay with me. Right. And who am I? I mean, I'm a mom. Yeah. I'm a person that cares a lot. I'm a strategic thinker. I love to travel. Like, these are the things that are so much more interesting about me than what I do. Yeah. And that's taken a lot of work for me to undo. Yeah. And it's also been understanding too, like, what are the personas that I as a human being wear as I walk around this earth. Totally. Right. And I'm a person, I would love to go to the movies with myself. I'd love to take myself for dinner. You have to learn to love and sit with yourself, because if you have that foundation, which is sort of where we ended up here, I think everything is possible for you. Yeah. Because people become drawn to you when you're a person that understands yourself, and then opportunities happen and doors open, and then you get to have the number 2 year of your sales year of number 2 in the whole group. You get to have a year like Shae had. Yeah. So think it's so important.
It is. And you know what? Since we're sharing stories, I want to share a story with you, because as you're saying this, I haven't thought about this in so long. But it's interesting, and I don't know if this is why you did this as opposed to attaching to an identity. But the pattern I can see as you're sharing the story was you came from something previous that was flashy and successful. And because you were starting something new, it's like there's validation in being like, it was a luxury automotive and I did da-da-da-da-da. And then once you built your gym up to great success, it's like, I'm starting this new thing. And so mentioning it.
But I promise at one point I was successful, you know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I will say too, like there is nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it's like, and I don't even know if that was true for you. Like, this is what I'm saying, sitting on this side as you're sharing it, I'm like, and so this is what made me think of this story. Was years ago, this is like way pre-COVID, where, and I'm sure you can recall when Toronto, especially around like TIFF, was very, very all the events driven. Yes. Like you were always going to some event at the Fairmont or like at the TIFF Center or whatever, right? And rubbing shoulders and networking and blah, blah, blah. My least favorite question ever is being asked, what do I do for a living? Because it is you really just want to know how much I make in a year. That's like what you're asking. And then if it's worth it for you to go out for dinner with me to rub shoulders so I can introduce you to somebody, or maybe you can get my business and whatever. And I get there's an element of like, well, that's kind of the purpose of networking. But I hate that question. And and this is anybody who can resonate with already the stories that, you know, we've talked about just now around identity and getting uncomfortable with like, you know, asking these questions about self. Try this. The next time you're out at an event, I used to go, and anytime somebody would be like, oh, what do you do for a living? I literally straight-faced, not joking, I just say, I work the drive-thru at McDonald's. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I work at whichever. I would pick like Bathurst and King or whatever. I don't even know if there's one at Bathurst. There's not. It was definitely King. I'm like, I don't think there's one there. But I would pick one, and I would just say, just come. I'll give you fries and whatever
King
for
and
free.
Spadina,
Like some, yeah, King and Spadina. You know, I would just say that, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay. I'm like, yeah, all the fries on me. Just come through the drive-thru. I'll give them to you. And you know, some of my friends would always laugh. You know, like me, like I can't believe you did that. But it's like, there's so much more behind that. And also for me, I was really comfortable in who I was to be able to say that. And if that person needs to know me, they're going to end up knowing me and then know like, wow, she was full of shit and she actually does luxury real estate and da, 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 da. But it's like, you didn't need to know that about me. Why did I need to tell you that? You know, it's like, it's about relationship building really and networking. And then do our businesses align in some way? And how could we work together? How can I support you?
Yeah.
Like you should be asking me, how can I support you at the drive-through window? Like, what can I do? Like, I want to work with somebody who would be serious to an extent of like something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But as you were talking, I'm like, yeah, I haven't thought about that in a very long time.
That's
but
so funny.
Yeah, I literally used to do that. Okay, let's pivot.
We could unpack that for a while.
I know we could.
Pivot.
Let's pivot.
I needed to pause just for a quick second. If you are loving this conversation and thinking every woman needs to hear this, you are right. So please hit that subscribe button, drop me a review, and help me flood the algorithm with real talk that actually matters. Let's get more women into their wealthy era together. Your support means so much to me.
I was talking with a best girlfriend of mine the other day, and she's a mom of 4.5. And I say 4.5 because she's birth 4 and she has a stepdaughter.
Wow. Okay.
So she's got 5 kids and extremely busy household. Youngest is 7, eldest is 22. And she was telling me how she just created this guide to help moms move from overwhelm to capacity.
Cool.
It's brilliant. And she is, I won't cry, but I get emotional when I think of who she is as a mom. She is the best mother I've ever witnessed in my life. And she has taught me so much about motherhood that I feel like, you know, when you think of like how you were raised, you pick up things from your moms. Yeah. But you don't remember everything because you're like a kid and you grow up and you don't realize so much of who you are is because of how you were parented when you were 5, but you have no recollection of it. Instead, I got to like witness every single thing, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but mostly beautiful. And her struggle has been that like business has to be hard in order to be earned. And we had this full conversation. I was like, if I was you just talk about motherhood. You are the most incredible mom. And there's so many moms that can use your knowledge, you know? And I wanted to ask you, not even just if you're a mom, but just like women in business, that sometimes there's this pressure that in order to be successful, it has to be hard in order to create worth or to be earned. Yeah. I would think that you know, that we are in alignment with that, but I wanted your thoughts like on that and the women that you see.
Yeah. Okay. It's so interesting that you've asked me this question because on my drive here, I was sort of thinking, I was thinking about all of the women that I've been in masterminds with and programs with that started up with me around the same time that aren't in business anymore. And I was sort of like, why do I think that is? This was the pondering that I was doing on the drive. So I love that you asked this. I think that there is a part of business that is hard, right? There are a lot of things that are uncomfortable and a lot of things that are required in order to be successful in business. Yeah. And you and I were talking about this before we hit record, is I really do believe that when you're a mom, you have to build your business differently. Sure. But I sure shit am not going to let you use motherhood as a reason why you shouldn't do it. Yeah. And I think sometimes the things that feel like they're hard are really just uncomfortable. And I think in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to sometimes get uncomfortable. Does that mean that you need to be working 80 hours a week? No. Yeah. But it does mean that you have to put yourself out there in a way that not everybody is willing to do. It does mean that you have to drive from Barrie to Toronto and get on a podcast recording with someone that you haven't met before. Yeah. Right. It does mean that sending the DM or reaching out to someone or asking to collaborate, it does mean that. And I think the people that ultimately fail at entrepreneurship or drop off or whatever, however you want to phrase that, I think there are people that just quit. There are people that are unwilling to get uncomfortable. And so I don't think that you have to work 80 hours a week. That's not required. There is hard work that is required, especially in the early stage, right? You have to create your offer. You're building your website. You have to figure out how you're going to fill the funnel, how people are going to know that you exist. There is work that is required. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing that I love to give to early stage people or people that are starting out and people like your friend is surrounding yourself with people that are willing to open doors for you. Right. Because that is all business is. And once you figure that out, everything gets so much easier. Sure. Right? And it's truly about, are you building the right relationships? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can be proof of what is possible for you, that can make that introduction, that can say, hey, Shae, I really like that idea, but what if we made it bigger? Right. And what if you positioned it this way instead? And so I don't know if I'm answering your question, but this is sort of what I was thinking about on the way here was just the people that have given up. It's like, why did they give up? I think they gave up because they got uncomfortable, or got up because they gave up because the stories that they tell themselves about why they can't do the thing that they want to do just get so loud. But if you can surround yourself with people that are going to be like, no, right, like we're gonna forget that for now. We're gonna ignore that, or we're gonna acknowledge that and do it anyway. Yeah, I think that's where power comes from. And I mean, I'm sure that you see this too in your circles, but I'm surrounded by so many incredible women that genuinely just want to see each other win. Sure. Yes. And I think if you're a women entrepreneur in your early stage and you are building alone right now, it's the biggest mistake you can make.
I couldn't agree more. And true story, I just had a lunch meeting yesterday with a woman that I basically said to her, I'm like, I'm going to be starting something. And I said to her, I'm like, I'd really love for you to grow this with me. Yeah. Awesome. I don't need you to do it with me. I've built everything by myself and what I built, but I am like, it's not fun. I don't want to do it that way. I want
friends now.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I have a real estate team, and there's team camaraderie, and I have the, you know, like the friendship side there. Like there's people there, so I don't feel like a solopreneur, if you will. Yep. But it's not the same as like having somebody that you're really like building something with, you know. Yeah. And yeah, so I love that you said that.
And even just in collaboration too. It doesn't mean that you have to have a business partner.
No, of course. Yeah, definitely.
You know, I'm taking on a business partner for a side of my business for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you about the example of the
Yep.
nutrition business, pinky promises and high fives and hugs.
Yeah, totally.
Can't recommend that.
Yep.
And it is hard, right,
Yep.
to go into business with someone, but collaborating with other
Yeah,
people, people that are serving similar people to you, but in different ways.
Yeah.
You can lift each other up. Like
Yeah.
even that, or even having another mom that you can be like, man, this shit is so hard.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like a crazy person. I mean, it's a big reason why this Mother Means Business exists, because we get into rooms and people are like, same to the stuff that they thought that they were the only person that was having that experience, because there's so much of this experience.
Yeah.
People don't say out loud. So I try to be the person that says it out loud.
Yeah. You know, and I'm a firm believer that collaborations are probably one of the fastest ways for you to 10x your business.
Agreed.
You know, like when you are, and not just because of what you both can do for each other or the leverage, but because money loves fun and money loves magnetism. And when you are in collaboration, there is an energy, there's an aura, you know, and people see it and it multiplies and there's a ripple effect. And that's part of, you know, even the conversation I was having with this girl yesterday was like, we can just build this and it's going to just be fucking fun. Yeah. Like, let's just do it. And that's like us as women, like whether you're a mom or not, your entire vessel is built to create. Yeah. Like whether you have kids or not, it doesn't matter. It's like in you, and that's your secret power. So like if you're not creating something, you probably actually don't feel as fulfilled or happy, just because naturally that's like what we are. That's what you're built for. Yeah. You know, and even when you're saying like so many women who give up or walk away because it's hard, there's realness to that. So much I feel that we're out of alignment and like lack. Mm-hmm. And again, I was going back to say, like, you know, sometimes we make it harder than it needs to be. Yeah. And that if it's not hard, then that's not the path forward. When really, like, there's so many women that they could monetize their passion and just what they know. Yep. And that like they would just do anyways for free. It's like,
yeah, I just reread for I think the 100th time The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about living in your zone of genius. Yes. And if you can figure out, so many of us live in our zone of excellence, which is like just something that we're good at, that we just do. Yeah. But your zone of genius is the place where you play when time just flies. Yeah. You're doing the thing that you could do all day, whether someone's paying you or not. Yeah. And if you can figure out how to be there, then that is where it does feel light and fun. And the whole day is gone and you've been doing this thing and you're like, wow, I feel like I've only been doing this for 30 minutes, but it's been 8 hours or however long. Exactly. And if we can figure out what our zone of genius is and find a way to create from there and hopefully monetize that, that's where it does get to be light and fun. So I do agree that, like, yes, there's work involved, right? There's always going to be work, but totally when you're in your zone of genius, when it's fun for you, then that's where true magic happens.
One of the things, Laura, you talk about a lot, kind of on this, keeping in this thought, is around burnout and helping women to cut out the burnout. Like, it doesn't need to be like that. Where do you think the burnout stems from? Like, where's the stem of the problem from? Is it clarity? Is it what we were just talking about? Like, it has to be hard? Like,
no, I actually think it's ego.
Ego.
Yeah, I think burnout comes from ego.
Okay, enlighten me.
And it comes from this place of like, I need to be the person that does all of the things. And nobody can do it better than me. Yeah. And I'm not going to let it go. Right. And so often it comes from that, right? It's like, I have to do everything in the house. I was having this conversation with a client months ago, and I'll never forget it. And she was like, well, I'm really overwhelmed right now. I have all of these calls and I have to take the kids to their doctor's appointment. And meanwhile, I know that her partner is a stay-at-home dad. Okay. And I was like, so do you have to be the one to take your kids to the doctor's appointment? They're like, well, they need their mom there. Like, do they? Yeah. Do they need their mom there? Yeah. Or can dad take them? Because I think dad's probably just as capable of providing empathy and love and support to your children at the doctor's appointment as you. It's like, well, I know. It's just like, oh no, you're not willing to let dad do that. Right. That's ego, right? Yeah. That's ego showing up and being like, it has to be me. Yeah. No, it doesn't. At some point we have to let that go. Yeah. And same in business, right? One of the things I love to help my clients do is look at what are things that only Shae has to do. Mm-hmm. What are the things that Shae should not be doing? Right. Yeah. Right? Because there's probably, and I don't know your business too much, but anybody listening, I'm willing to bet that there are some stuff that you're doing in your business right now that you do not need to be doing.
Totally.
But you're holding on to it because letting go of it is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because maybe you've done it for a really long time. And I think that's where burnout comes from, right? It comes from feeling like we need to do it. There's that. I think there is also a piece where it's like, I don't actually know what moves the needle in my business. So I'm just trying to do everything. I don't have a clear plan. And sometimes that can just be a lack of information, right? We don't have the information. We haven't surrounded ourselves with the people that are going to give us information. But most of the time, especially with moms, I think it's ego. It's coming from this place of like, well, if I don't do it, nobody else can do it. And sometimes our partners are not super A-type. I mean, I'm A-type. My partner, he's a great and very involved dad. Yeah. Does he have to be told what to do? Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's like,
and I've accepted
everywhere.
That. Right. And I've accepted that. Right. But like he does doctor's appointments. That's his thing. And that's fine. And so I think a lot of it when we're feeling burnt out, it's because we're overloaded from like decisions, responsibilities, expectations. And so when we can release some of those and recognize that actually it doesn't have to be you, things get a lot easier.
I also think with that is that there is validation that comes from being needed.
Totally, which is ego.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It is the ego.
It's like, I love to be needed. I need to be needed. Right? It's the same when you're making that first hire, right? You're hiring somebody for your business and you're like, I really like being the one that has to do this. I like being the one that everyone has to come to. Yeah. And it feels good to be the one that kids want, to be the one that team needs. But at some point, you will burn out.
Totally. And if you ever want to grow and scale, you will have to.
You have to.
Let go.
You have to.
And pass on the reins. And, you know, I'm extremely A-type.
Me too.
And there's a lot of stuff I hate doing that I am like, I cringe sometimes because I'm like, it's probably not going to get done the way that I would do it, but it's going to get done and it's going to be just fine. Yeah. And if you're that person who's the decision maker, guess what? You get to tell them to go back and change it or do it or correct it or how they could make it better the next time.
100%. And I'm quoting a lot of men, which I don't usually do, but Dan Martell, his book, Buy Back Your Time, he says 80% done is 100% awesome.
Right.
So great.
Yeah.
Let it be 80% done. Yeah. Work with the person to get to 100%. Yeah. Usually I don't quote this many men. Usually I try to stick to females.
I like Dan Martell, so that's okay.
But I think that's very true, right? Is like when you have an expectation. And I used to do some social media, like done for you agency work. For a long time, there was a piece of the business that only I did. Yeah. And finally got to the point where I needed to let it go because I had convinced myself that nobody could do it better than me. Yeah. I handed it off to someone else. She did it way better than I did. And I was like, man, if I had just done that sooner, 6 months before, I would have saved myself so much time and so much stress. And so oftentimes we just have to be willing to take a chance.
And I mean, that's really also the goal when you're growing and scaling your business is that you actually want to be surrounded by people who can do the things that aren't your area of genius. Yeah. You want them to do it better than you. Yep. And to be like, actually, we could be more efficient. We could get there quicker by doing X, Y, and Z. And you're like, that's why I hired you. Great. Like, I don't know what I don't know. And that's your zone, not mine.
This is why we have to understand what are the things that only Shae can do. What are the things that only Laura can do in the context of my business. And this is something that I think becomes like a bit of an everyday thing, something that we need to revisit quarterly and really look at as your business grows. I'm very clear on what are the things that only Laura can do in my business. Yeah. And I'll be honest, it's not that many things. Yeah. And so empowering my people to take it on is great. I'm going to stick to the things that only Laura can do. And the goal would be to get to a place where I'm literally only doing the things that only Laura can do. I'm not there yet. There are still things that I'm doing that I'm like, I should. And I still have members of my team that are like, Laura, why don't you delegate that to someone? I'm like, right. Yes, I need to do that. And I need those reminders because my ego shows up too. Totally. It's like, oh, this should be me. Yeah. No. It really doesn't have to be.
You'll be okay.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. You know, and you're the only one that knows too if it doesn't go okay. Like that's the other thing. I learned that so many times over and over again, especially with running events. Like, and I'm sure, you know, you do events too in your business that, you know, I'm so A-type and wanting things to look a certain way and da-da-da-da. You're like, you're the only one that knows that there was a fire in the room that had to get put out, or like that, you know, the booth that was supposed to have the pens horizontal were put vertical instead, and that's not the way that you wanted them to go.
Yeah, but the pens are still there.
The pens are still there.
Yeah.
And everybody else thought that it just looked fine. Like it looked great. Like nobody knew that there was like, you know, inside your head freaking out, you know, except your event director. She knows. It's like, the fuck are those pins doing? You know, but it's like, you just learn over time, like you just got to let those things go, you know, like otherwise you just won't be able to grow and scale, and you have to be able to trust your people. Yeah. Like it's a part of business and growth, you know, otherwise you'll be stuck. You'll hit that cap for the rest of your life, you know. Talking about events, why don't you share with us? I know you've got a really great event coming up in April on the 1st. Not a joke.
Not a joke.
It's really happening.
Not April Fool's.
Share with us a little bit. What's it called? Where is it?
Yeah. Thank you for that. You know what? We hosted our first event in 2025. And I talk about the sort of accidental succession of what this Mother Means business has become. And I had a lot of, wouldn't it be cool if one day's moments, sort of thinking about the 2026 event, and all of those things are happening. All of my one day, wouldn't that be cool if eventually, and they're all happening right away, which is amazing. But I have to tell you that there is a lot of events, right? Some of them are better than others. I'm a person that actually doesn't really enjoy going to the typical, I'm hitting the mic. I'll back up. I'm a person that actually doesn't really enjoy going to a lot of events, mostly because my body starts to hurt after like sitting for 8 hours. I don't want to attend an 8-hour event where I'm talked at the whole time. I want to meet people. I want to talk to people. And to sort of the point you and I were chatting about relationships and finding your people and finding your collaborators, that's really the heart of the event. So the event is called This Mother Means Business Live. It is April 1st at the Pearl in Burlington. And it is really an opportunity for you to come, if you're a mom entrepreneur, I'd love to see you there, to come and learn some things. To talk about the stuff that's really hard and real, and the things that maybe we don't say out loud enough, and actually get some real tools and strategies that you can use in your business. I think a lot of events, and they all have their place, but some of them feel like big inspirational hugs that you get, and then you're like, thank you for the hug. I don't know what I'm doing with this now. That is not this Mother Means Business Live. It is really intended to be an opportunity for you to come learn some things, meet some incredible people. We do a lot of really structured networking and collaboration that is intentional, because I want you to meet the people that you actually need to meet to become your next collaborator, to help you 10x your business. So we've got a couple of incredible keynote speakers. We've got some panels, but really the heart of it is there's a lot of experiential, there's a lot of hands-on, and there's a lot of networking. So it's a 9 to, oh gosh, I should know this, Shae. 9 to 3, I believe, at the Pearl. We're going to have about 150 women there. CIBC is our title sponsor, which is really amazing. We've got a few other sponsors that are coming on. We're doing a lot of really fun stuff. Some of them I can't tell you. Because contracts have not been fully signed as of this moment. But that's fair. It's really a space for women that are ambitious. And when I use the word ambition in your business, I mean, that could mean you're ambitious and focused on making 6 figures a year. That could mean you're ambitious and focused on making 8 figures a year or more, right? I think that ambitious is a scale, but it's women who are moms who are navigating this intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship, but are serious about the work that they do. It matters to them. And they want to show up for it. I think a lot of mom and entrepreneurship conversations historically have been very pink, very MLM, very mompreneur, very fluffy, which is fine for the people that it's fine for. It's not fine for me. It's not fine for the women that come to This Mother Means Business Live. So that's really what it's about. It's about creating space for real conversations about women building real businesses and navigating motherhood and showing up for their kids in the way that aligns for them. There's no one definition of what it means to be a good mom or a good entrepreneur, but we're trying to hold space for all of it at the event.
Well, I love that. I love that not only will you be able to come and get a hug at the event.
I will be there and available for hugs.
You're giving out hugs, but the tangible and integration is really important. And you want to walk away with things that are going to help you move the needle in your business. And like you said, collaborator, next step, like growth, you know? So how can people get tickets for this?
So the best place to get tickets is at thismothermeansbusiness.com. Everything is there right on the website. And I don't know what our deadline is. I want to say the deadline, it's April 1st. I think the deadline for tickets is March 15th. We have about 35 tickets left. So
you better go
now
and get them.
Yes.
Including me. I have not bought my ticket yet.
Get your ticket.
Yes.
Do it.
Yeah. I'm going to come.
It's going to be an incredible room. Yeah. Honestly, like I take this so seriously because I'm a person that, like I said, I don't love a lot of events. I'm A-type. I do worry about the pen direction, but I really worry about people's experience. Yeah. Like I don't want you to come and be bored. I don't want you to come and be like, well, thank you. I'm exhausted now. I'm an introvert. So this is one thing that is important to note. I'm an introvert. So going to an event.
Don't act like one.
I can do it, but I'll be very tired after this, Shae. And I will need a 3-week nap after this event. But I do take it so seriously. Like if you're going to give me your money and your time, right? If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to spend 8 hours with Laura, it's going to be a valuable 8 hours. I take it so seriously. And I've definitely hit, I'll be honest, it is why do I do this to myself o'clock when it comes to this event. I mean, we're just over 2 months or just under 2 months out from it at the time of this recording. And certainly like, it's just something I take so seriously. And so if you're a person that's like, I would only go if I know somebody, please just come.
Yeah.
It's not about, you don't need to know somebody to come. The idea is that you don't know enough people. And this is going to be the room where you find your people. So I can't wait for it. But I am going to need a 3-week nap after on April 1st. So I will not be available.
You sound like
the
an
entire.
Introvert.
Thank you. I'm struggling now. But yeah, the month of April I won't be available because I'll be sleeping.
I love it. Well, in closing, I'll say that it's interesting that we ended with your event and sharing this. And maybe this is the invitation for the woman who gets space for herself and she doesn't know what to do with it. Yeah. That this is a time where you get a day, a half day, almost a full day with no kids.
Listen, I suggest you make a spa day of it. Come stay overnight, go to the spa after. Right. The spa at the Pearl is beautiful.
It is. Yeah.
It's a write-off. It's a business expense. Just come.
And this is your self time that we were talking about. Like if you've not taken space for self for a while, this is your permission to buy the ticket.
We did this totally by accident, but yes.
We did. But it
landed the plane beautifully.
It's true, right?
So true.
Laura, thank you for coming on to the show today. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. This has been awesome.
If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time, lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.